Right.
I was promoted to senior probation officer after 4 years, and I started on the Monday, and on Thursday I was rushed into hospital and didn't leave for 8 months. So
right.
that had a lot of value out of me. But luckily I was like on sick pay. You got sick pay for 12 months in probation, 6 months full and 6 months half. So at least I was getting decently paid for it. And I had my mortgage paid off and everything because it was like critical illness, all that type of stuff. So I came out, all my hair grown back. I was like thinking, well, I thought this is great, this. But not really. And that's when I started to sort of write again, but not seriously. And it was another 10 years, about 8 or 9 years before I actually started to write, to properly write. And I couldn't type or anything. I had to get someone else to do my typing for me because...
what kind of cancer was it, if you don't mind me asking?
It was something called Burkitt's lymphoma, which is an incredibly rare blood cancer, usually found in the jaws of South African children. So, yay, lucky me.
How on earth?
No idea, but it's so rare that my consultant in the West Cumberland Hospital didn't have the staff to deal with it, so I had to go to the RVI. So I was an inpatient in the RVI.
So there was no sort of build up to it?
No, I remember on the day I was taken to the hospital, I had like a stomach ache in my stomach with that Johnson's, whatever, like a thing that you bit of jollop. Andrews, not Johnson's baby powder. I wasn't drinking baby powder. So then at night, my girlfriend at the time, she said, "You don't look well." I said, "Well, I don't feel well." She said, "Well, let's get you out to Q-Doc." And he felt around and he felt a lump in my side. And the fact that it was rock hard, and as soon as he goes, "Your abdomen is rock hard," I thought, "There's something properly wrong here." And I was admitted that night. I had a massive operation, 12 hours, 2 teams of surgeons and things.
And that was just the cancer, was it?
Yeah, they took it out. It was the size of a rugby ball.
Wow.
And it's incredibly fast growing. So they took it out, and then had to go and be sort of decide they had to cut it into bits and see what it was.
Yeah.
And by the time they got an answer, it was so that was just before Christmas, and it was just after Christmas so I spent Christmas at the West Cumberland Hospital. That was a laugh. It's like when the carol singers come in to cheer you up.
That's the last thing you want.
Yeah, exactly. Stand right by your bed. God wish you would. So yeah, by the time I think it was about a 20-day gap between my operation and finding out what it was, and by that time it was already the size of a tennis ball again.
Crazy.
So I was but straight away they said, "Look, this is a kill or cure cancer. You won't be in remission. It'll kill you and you'll just be dead soon, or it'll be completely cured and you won't get it again. Or if you get it again, it won't be it growing back. It'll just be."
What can you say to that? You just
bad luck. Yeah. So
like a punch in the face.
Yeah, and in I think it was the back end of January. I'd just finished my first course of treatment, and it didn't appear to be working. And they said, "Well, we're going to have to arrange palliative care." I mean, I was whacked out of my face of morphine, so I was still going, "That's good." I said, "We're just going to take a sliver of bone from your hip, just to confirm it's now in your bone, because that's basically the confirmation we need." And they did that, and they said, "Actually, it's not. Yeah, so we're just going to give you another round of treatment. You're supposed to have 3 rounds anyway." And then I started to respond to it.
Wow.
But now they're saying it's because you were so weak because of the big operation. They said ideally, if we'd known what it was, you wouldn't have done the operation. We could have shrunk. It was a massive tumour. We still could have shrunk it. So I came out with sort of mobility problems, and I mean, I had to have a Zimmer. I could barely walk. I had to have a Zimmer frame. I was so weak.
So how long are we talking from when you first knew about it to when you almost recovered?
I was given what they call a complete response back in the start of June, maybe. I was in the RVI for the best part of 6 months.
This is 2003?
Sorry?
2003?
It was Christmas 2003. I had my operation, so it was actually early January 2004 that I went to the RVI, and I didn't come out until either back end of May or the start of June. I can't remember.
It just feels like a blur, does it?
Well, now I sort of remember it quite fondly, but mainly because it's just given me so much material to work with. Just some things that you
not that you knew it at the time.
No, but
the fact that you've got a good memory as well is a
I mean, it was horrific for mainly. It was horrific. I mean, I was on morphine virtually the entire time, so it was worse for everyone else, I suspect. But and my friends from university would come in, particularly on Friday nights, would come and eat all my sandwiches because I wasn't eating at all.
Yeah.
Before they went out on the piss, they would come and just like raid. What have you got in your cupboards? Because people would just people bring in food, but I didn't. So I lost half my body weight. I just wasn't eating at all. They had to put me on this like drip thing, which actually was drip feeding food into me because I just wasn't eating. So my friends would come and eat all my sandwiches. So anyway, I mean that was that. But I started to write a few years after that.
So you went back to the prison service?
I went back to probation. I was back that year. I was back in the September. I had to have splints on my feet because my ankles had no control of my ankles, so I was like, walking these big plastic things.
You're like a robot.
I mean, it was horrific. I mean, thinking back, it was awful. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. So yeah,
it's unbelievable. To be fair,
it was one of those. But I mean, what it did, it made me more of a risk taker.
Made you more of a risk taker.
Yeah, because the worst thing. What's the worst thing? The worst thing's already happened.
You've come through that.
So I went into hospital quite shy. Came out. I just didn't care what people thought of me. I mean, I just didn't. But shyness is basically you just care too much what people think, and you're terrified of.
It holds you back, basically.
It absolutely does. I mean, it should be classed as a social anxiety. There should be treatment on the NHS for it because, I mean, if you've got extreme shyness, your life's knackered. It really is.